doing a little video about skincare. This is going to be the start of a mini, just a mini series of maybe 3 at most 4 videos where I talk a little bit about my favourite skincare ingredients, the ingredients that I think are most beneficial to the skin that work, because there's so many filler ingredients in a lot of our skincare products that do nothing, and it's hard to know what to look out for. And especially when I talk a lot about products that I love, and I might mention ingredients that most people won't know what means, so I'm going to be explaining a little bit about them, so it'll make life a little bit easier on you maybe when you're picking out ingredients, so that you'll recognise a couple of the long and often confusing words on the back of the ingredient list on the back of your product, and you'll go, oh, I know what that is, and that does this, or that'll be good for me, or maybe that one won't be good for me. So the first video today is going to be looking at acids, which sound way scarier than they are. I kind of bunched them into three groups. You have your AHAs, your alpha hydroxy acids, your BHAs, which are your beta hydroxy acids, and then I kind of put hyaluronic acid then in its third little box. So I have a few notes just so I don't totally get muddled up and over talk. That's my main reason for notes. So I might be looking down a bit, but I'm going to start off with the AHAs. Now generally these are what I would immediately think of when it comes to anti-aging. So we have glycolic acid, which comes from sugars, lactic acid, which you probably heard of as well, which is from sour milk, and then there's citric acid from citrus fruits, and you have malic acid, which is from apples. And these are natural acids, like I said, found in foods and in your fruits and stuff like that. So what these do is they're basically chemical exfoliants, and people, again, when I say the word chemical exfoliant, they think, oh, chemicals bad for your skin, sound really harsh, ew, and especially when you say acids, they think it's just going to burn your skin, which they don't. What they do is they basically dissolve the top layers, the dead, like this dead skin that's still stuck onto your skin, the top layer, like the dead top layers of skin that is still attached to the rest of the skin. What it helps to do is dissolve that and helps to separate it from the rest of your skin. Now it's still good to use a physical exfoliant, a nice mild physical exfoliant, to help just get rid of them altogether and remove them from the surface. But the chemical exfoliants really help to dissolve and loosen those top layers so that they can be removed really easily. Another thing they do as well is clear out blocked pores. And then with the anti-aging thing, they can thicken skin and help to kind of make the skin a little bit firmer again. So again, it's just kind of speeding up its natural exfoliating process. These are really good for anti-aging as well. It does work a little bit further down into the skin than your BHAs. So it's really good for, fine lines and the start of wrinkles, and if you have scars or discoloration or any little pop marks and stuff like that on the skin, it'll help to, now it won't totally eradicate them. I mean, there's nothing that would totally eradicate them topically, but it definitely helps to soften these things a little bit. And it can help with acne and, like I said, blocked pores and all that kind of stuff. But as I mentioned before, it's good to use it hand in hand with a light physical exfoliant as well. One thing that I've mentioned before is vitamin C is very good for brightening, and when I say brightening I mean helping to brighten up any dark spots or age spots or sun damage or stuff like that. But beware, because this is only when it's in the form of L-ascorbic acid, I think. Pure L-ascorbic, I'm not pronouncing that as well, ascorbic acid. So not the vitamin C derivatives. So you have to be careful that it actually says pure vitamin C or the L-ascorbic acid or whatever. So that will help to brighten over time, but these things will only work if you're using them continuously. It's not the kind of thing you'll use maybe once a month and expect it to make a difference. They won't, but you want to incorporate them into your daily routine really. And acids really are quite gentle, especially the ones that are sold in most of your skincare. One thing I need to mention as well is that the alpha hydroxy acids don't work as quick as your beta hydroxy acid, which I'll get to in a minute. Basically this means that you need to use them in products that are going to be sitting on your face for a while. So glycolic acid in a face wash isn't going to do much good because it needs to be sitting on the face for a while to actually work. Like I said, these work a little bit deeper into the skin than your BHAs. Or a BHA. So you want them in your masks, in your treatment, in your moisturizers, stuff like that. Face wash isn't really great to have your AHAs in just because it's not really on the face for long enough. And the alpha hydroxy acids will also help increase collagen production depending on the strength and the acid. Now moving on to the BHAs, which is your beta hydroxy acid, which is salicylic acid. Now this works slightly more on the very top layers of the skin. This is a great physical or chemical exfoliant as well. This is really good for acne and stuff like that. Like I said, it'll slew away the very top layers and help with pores. It really reaches down into the pores and helps to decongest them, which anyone who gets acne will know is really important because that's where your spots come from. And this actually works a lot quicker than the BHAs, like I said, so that's why it's okay to get a face wash with salicylic acid. Now, salicylic acid in its purest form can be quite drying, especially when the skin isn't used to it, because your skin does take a while to get used to it. But once your skin is used to it, it'll actually help soften the skin and stuff like that over time. Like most of these products, your skin will need a good 3 weeks or whatever to get used to them. So again, you need to be using them quite often to get the benefit of them. Now, salicylic acid, depending on your skin type, you may need to use more or less. If you're on the oily side, you could use more. If you're on the dry side, you probably need to use less of it. And if you are dry, a rule of thumb would be to get less black pores and stuff like that. It can be more soothing and less aggressive than some of the other AHAs, like I mentioned before, so it's good for like teenagers, especially anyone who, like I said, does have acne. And you'll usually find salicylic acid in your spot treatments, so look out for that. I mean, nearly every spot treatment I have has salicylic acid. It's definitely in this guy here, which is my Vichy Normaderm Hyaluronic Spot, the Claire Duo. It's in my face wash and bathroom as well. Yeah, so great for spots. That's the main thing really when it comes to BHAs. And then the third acid for today is hyaluronic acid. So I need to look down to actually remember the other names. They're also called hyaluron, hyaluronin and hyaluronate. So you'll see this written sometimes a few different ways on the back of products, but basically it's an extremely hydrating molecule. It's known as the most loving water molecule in nature. So when I say that, it attracts water. It can hold up to 1,000 times its own weight in water in its purest form, which is amazing. And if you think about your skin, that is brilliant for your skin. Now, hyaluronic acid occurs naturally in our bodies. It's in our eyeballs. That's why our eyeballs are kind of nice and jelly and wet. It's like a jelly kind of thing when it's in the body. It's what keeps our joints and our, the joints that join our muscles and our bones. It's what keeps them supple as well. It's everywhere, like, but it's in our lips, it's in our eyes, it's all over the body. So younger people have more hyaluronic acid in their body than older people, of course. Everything starts to just fade away as we get older, and sometimes you need a little bit more help with it as you get older. So a lot of the time when we start to see our first fine lines on the face, it's to do with dehydration and losing that natural plumpness from the hyaluronic acid and just fluids in general from our skin. So you really want to put that back in. So all my favorite like serums are usually quite high in hyaluronic acid. The one I'm using at the moment, the Vichy Aqualia Thermal Serum, is very high in hyaluronic acid. That's what you really want to be looking at. It's for anyone who's really dehydrated. Really look for hyaluronic acid. Even if you're on the dry side, there's no harm in looking for hyaluronic acid, even though you usually need oil when you're dry, and then it's hydration and water you need when you're dehydrated. So smoking and pollution and bad diet and all that is what can lead to like dehydration in the body, and that's why you need to counteract these things, because a lot of the time we can't avoid them. If you live in a city, you are just going to be, what's the word I'm looking for, faced with pollution every day, and all you can do is try to protect yourself as much. So you wear your SPF, you use your hyaluronic acid, and try and make your skin as plump and ready to deal with the aggressors as possible. But that's pretty much it. One other thing about hyaluronic acid as well is that it can actually be plumped or pumped into the skin or injected into the skin as a filler, because like I said, it's very natural in our bodies. It's something that occurs naturally in everybody, so it is broken down really easy by our own metabolism, and it's quite safe in the skin as well. So I always kind of thought if I ever go for lip plumpers or anything like that, or even plumpers around the face, I'd probably like to try hyaluronic acid rather than any of the other ones, but that'll be further down the line if I ever do go for anything like that. But anyhow, I hope this was helpful, guys, and will give you a little bit more understanding about the acids that you see in products and what they do and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully the next video on this one will be about what's the word I'm looking for? Retinol, or yeah, over-the-counter retinol really. I personally haven't tried prescription retinol, but I can still give you information about it. So I'll just see y'all then. Come on guys.